Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Wednesday video where me and NJ are currently standing up, and in this video we're going to be talking about the big news from WWE Monday Night Raw. Who's going to face CM Punk at Hell in a Cell? Is it going to be Ryback or is it going to be John Cena? And that is what we're going to be discussing in this video, of course. I'm Mr. Parkin. This guy standing next to me is none other than the one and only great man, NJ.
What's up?
Looked like he was doing a butterfly stroke to a what's up stroke. He should definitely invent his own swimming stroke right now. Subscribe above, like this video, comment any thoughts you have on whether it should be Ryback or Cena facing CM Punk at Hell in a Cell down in the comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
And it's a shame, really, in my opinion, that a decent show like Raw this week got overshadowed by a small, I guess you could say, a small piece of news when CM Punk assaulted a fan. Now, I've already done a video on my channel. You can go check out my channel at Mr. Parkin01. You have yet to weigh in with your thoughts. I mean, this pretty much overshadowed the show, and it could have some real negative consequences for WWE's image, really, couldn't it?
Well, there's different viewings of this at the moment.
Yeah.
It looked like, after watching the video again, it looked like he was provoked in a way. He got slapped on the back of the head and nudged. Obviously, Punk took that as a offence, like, what the hell was that for? And turned around and slapped him one. But Punk did take it a little bit too far. So you can see it from two sides. But I think the WWE, with this whole Linda and still going on, I think that is going to play a strong part in this. But I don't think it should affect this storyline at all, because I still think Punk is in the growth, becoming a top main eventer. And
to be honest with you, we'll say this now, Punk is in a very high position at WWE, so he'll probably have a lot of influence at the top. What they're going to actually do with CM Punk, they've acknowledged on WWE, they sent out a statement earlier today, basically saying that it was CM Punk's heel persona, and they apologised for him going over the top. But the bottom line really is that it's generated a lot of negative news for WWE, and as a professional performer, you just, even though he was provoked, I can't not say that. It was kind of unprofessional, and it's basically Vince McMahon is going to have to step out there and say, you know, one of my performers hit a fan, and that's not the right thing, not the right image to be put across, especially when we know his wife is still running for Senate, and that isn't going to affect her. And we all know how Vince McMahon loves to try and make his wife's Senate image look good.
The Linda McMahon thing, I'm just waiting for it to end. Yeah. But the thing about Punk is, I think with the way it went down, is that the fan got in Punk's way in what he was doing. Punk attacked. And I just don't really agree that, because they've even got the police involved for that area, and it depends on how they're going to take it, what steps they're going to take. But at the end of the day, it looks like Punk could get away with it, but in the long run may lose his title, which is going to probably be the reason of this video.
Well, we will see, you know, what happens in the future, but it has to be treated very seriously. I mean, you don't see something like that very often. It definitely wasn't at work either. So, well, let's get into the crux of this video now. You guys can put your thoughts down there if you want on the CM Punk hitting a fan thing and what you think about it and what revelations you take from it. But right now, we're going to focus on something which should have been the main highlight of Raw, but really wasn't, and that is who should CM Punk face at Hell in a Cell? Should it be Ryback or should it be John Cena? Now, I think the first thing we should really look at here is Cena right now is injured. What if he stays injured? I mean, we're going to know next week whether or not he's fit to compete. That is exactly why WWE ran this angle. But what if he is injured? You have to have Ryback face CM Punk then at the pay-per-view, even though he's nowhere near ready for it.
Well, the way I'm looking at this now, especially when they teased Ryback and CM Punk when he was about to attack Mick Foley for the second time back a few weeks back, I was actually hoping for a non-title match, not to push him too fast, but just so that tease could actually lead to something. But it looks like now with Cena's injury, even though going to the Hell in a Cell, the way they treat the Hell in a Cell because of this PG era, Cena could go in there and still wrestle in a light way to make it work, but again, it just depends on what WWE's risk want to take.
And I think this is the thing with Cena now. We all know he's the #1 priority in the company. He is the top guy in the company. We cannot get away from that. So you know that WWE are going to be pushing their medical team as much as possible. Can we get this guy fit in time? Because you've got to look at it this way. CM Punk versus John Cena is a draw for Hell in a Cell, and if they don't have that draw, the pay-per-view may not sell that well. So I personally think WWE will do all they can to try and get Cena back fit and injured. Whether or not that will affect him in the long term or not, who really knows? But, I mean, to be honest with you, I think the question here is Ryback really a suitable replacement? Because right now, like we touched on in the video last week, WWE don't have a second babyface on Raw, so they don't really have anyone else unless it's a temporary Rock thing like it is at Royal Rumble to go up against the CM Punk. So really, WWE, in my opinion, have dug their own grave in the fact that they have to pick now between Cena, a guy who's already faced Punk now 4 times over the last year and a bit, or Ryback, a guy who clearly isn't ready for the main event, but will be ready maybe in a year or two's time to face maybe a CM Punk in a main event of a WrestleMania or something.
And I think the whole digging a grave is correct because they've got a really large roster. If you look on their website, you can see wrestlers like.
But no baby faces, though, that's the problem.
There are baby faces, but just not being used or could have been built up to this place, but they haven't got it. So we are left with Cena, who's not really in a feud apart from with Punk, or Ryback, who's failing to get into a feud, so they're having to use him.
They have been, and I think it's been a good idea for WWE to tease him in this role. I mean, he is getting good reactions right now. He's one of the more over guys on the roster right now, you could say that. But I think it really does come down to this. Do they really want to rush back an injured Cena, or are they prepared to take that short-term risk with maybe putting Ryback in a main event when he's probably not ready for it, to maybe prolong Cena a little bit so he can have a bit more recovery? Do you think WWE will actually allow Cena to work hurt again, or do you think, what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they'll rush him back or wait? Or because I don't think they will, knowing WWE right now.
Well, the way I'm going to say it is that with this, we'll probably get to elaborate more after we've made this point, but I don't really care who goes against Punk, but in most original idea, I think Cena is going to be ready for this. The way they keep making him come out, the way they really keep hyping up. Ryback's only just recently started to make it look like he's going to be the challenger. Well, I think the WWE will stick to Cena.
Yeah, and I think WWE will stick to Cena as well, purely because you know that they're going to try and push this guy again as soon as he gets back. He is the top guy in the company. One thing I do want to stress, though, is having Cena go after Punk is the more logical match. But like I said, if John Cena's not injured, you're going to have to put Ryback in there now. He's the only other choice. And also, let's look at it this way. Another slant we can put on this is CM Punk versus Ryback. While Ryback may not be ready for the main event, it's a match we've never seen before. He may not be ready for it, but it's a fresh match. And I think some people are kind of forgetting that, really.
I think when we have the decision next week on who's going to Hell in a Cell, the other person should get a non-title match on Raw, just so we can see the other match that was a possibility and give us a big main event for Raw. But what I'm going to quickly say is, as I said briefly before, I don't really care. Cena, Punk, feud that they're going to keep on using because they've got no main eventers. Ryback, I'm not really caring about because the WWE, as much as he is over the crowd, he's not really done anything gigantically big for me to get, yes, this guy I really want to see. He's beat the best, he's beat this guy, he's beat that guy. He just against local wrestlers, then some WWE wrestlers. So to be honest, this match, as much as it's going to be the main event in the cell, I don't really care.
And I think this is really the issue. A couple of issues here. You've had CM Punk on a really long title reign as a babyface. Now you've turned him heel. And now you've realised you've only really got Cena to feud him with. As soon as Cena gets injured, the plans really do get changed. And the thing is with Ryback now is, maybe in a year or two's time I could say yes, but they haven't really logically placed him. Even though they've booked him really strongly and he is very, very over with the crowd right now, he's not really in a logical position to be in that title match, really, to be honest with you. Even though I'm all for Ryback's push to the top maybe in a year or two, I don't think that he should really be put in there now. But if Cena's going to be injured, I mean, what other choices are there? I mean, what other choices do you have on Raw that's going to be a credible babyface to challenge CM Punk? And that is a big problem that WWE has to address.
Well, the key word is not really just Raw, because as we've seen, SmackDown has to be coming on to Raw.
Well,
they could have done Orton. They could make Orton versus Punk in Hell in a Cell.
He's filming a movie right now.
In a way, but again, he could have maybe done this slot. But the point is, the WWE not doing that. They stick with these two. And if I had to pick one, like I said, Cena, but overall, I'm just not hyped.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to pick one, it would be Cena. I mean, as much as I would love to see I think a Ryback versus Punk match would really be better for Raw, really, as a non-title match. It doesn't really have the big feel of a main event match, even though they're trying to push it that way. But John Cena, if WWE will do anything they can to get Cena back from his injury, and in my opinion, it will be John Cena versus CM Punk at Hell in a Cell. But I think they've got Ryback there as backup, just in case they can't rehabilitate him well enough, because they will know by next week whether he can wrestle. And I will stick by John Cena, even though the polls on NoDQ.com that we saw earlier clearly wanted to see Ryback. 41% of the people said they wanted to see Ryback, which is really interesting considering how much the internet wrestling community really doesn't like a guy like Ryback, really, isn't it?
It's a bit surprising, but if it's going to be Cena, like we said in our Raw reviews, these two have faced each other a lot now, and it's probably not going to finish at Hell in a Cell, because if Cena wins, Punk gets a rematch. If Punk wins, they're going to do a screwy finish,
Yeah.
so probably Cena gets a rematch. So either way, that's the reason why I don't want it to be Cena, but it probably will be Cena.
And this is, like we said before, the problem when you have only one real top quality babyface on Raw to face a guy like CM Punk. You've got to get a lot of legs out of this Cena Punk feud, which means they face off with each other a lot of times. Like you said, really not. It gets to a point where they face each other so much it's not really interesting. You're kind of just sitting there, really using this as filler to get to the Rock at the Royal Rumble and then maybe Rock and Cena at WrestleMania. And it really does beg two questions, really. One of them being, why don't WWE have a second babyface on the Raw brand? And number two, why have they presented this option where one of them isn't really ready and one of them has already faced the guy 4 times? It's not really the best option to have. I mean, I think people will probably want to see Ryback rather than John Cena because, as the old saying goes right now, anything other than Cena.
Well, then, this is a last point I'm going to think. Talk about that poll. There was a choice, both. So I think if the decision comes next week that they can't decide, Punk goes through, I'm not choosing any, and he stands his ground, they could, because Ryback needs a match going into the pay-per-view.
Yeah, John Cena doesn't have to work that much, does he?
So to be honest, I think the other route, which would be more logical, even though it'll be Ryback in a WWE Championship match, because there's a chance if Ryback versus Punk, it could be non-title for him to sell. But if it's a triple threat, it'll be for the title. But it's another way of going down this road.
And I guess, let's say Ryback does face CM Punk. Who do you have win? Do you have the monster babyface that Vince McMahon loves go over here, or do you have CM Punk go over here? I mean, it's a really bad situation that WWE put themselves into because they've got one guy who they're really trying to push up the card very strongly, but they've got a guy in CM Punk who they can see as their top heel as the WWE champion. What do they really do here? If Cena loses, he doesn't really lose much, but if Ryback loses, he loses a hell of a load of momentum being put in the main event scene very early.
So the same option, if Cena is capable to go on, Ryback, they should do the triple threat just so Ryback can get pinned, but for the right reasons.
Yeah, I really, really wouldn't be for Ryback in the main event scene simply because I don't want to see him get pinned and really halt his momentum as a future top babyface for the company. That is it. Do you have anything else you want to say about this subject before we move off this video?
It's going to be the main event himself, and I don't really care, but there we go.
Cena or Ryback, or both?
I think Cena would be the number one choice, but both would help this situation move forward.
Yeah, and it's really depending on John Cena's injury. If John Cena's fine, then it will go ahead John Cena versus Punk. If John Cena's not fine, then they'll have to stick with Ryback versus Punk essentially. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Which match would you rather see at Hell in a Cell? What do you think on a potential Cena versus Punk match for the 5th time in about a year and a bit, or a potential Ryback versus Punk match, or indeed probably even a triple threat match? Give your thoughts in the comment section below. We want to hear your thoughts on this.
And make sure you feed the British Fist more, so please leave your comments in the comments below. And from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Until next time, YouTubers.
Feed me more.
Goodbye.